record. Good morning, Mr. Ian Simons. It is Suzie Sayz here, and I'm so honored to have you here because you're like on the other side of the mountain, up there in this lockdown time. It's like a whole new world. So Ian, everybody whoever is watching now, whoever is going to be watching in the future, this is one of my dear friends, Ian Simons, and he is, we've been on an incredible journey of the last couple of years, haven't we? So without me saying who you are, I would like you to tell us who you are, and let's see where this takes us for the next while. But I really thank you so much for taking time. I know the time is very precious, and I know that you know, you've had an incredible journey, an incredible story. You and I have really done something quite extraordinary with our lives on a personal development side. So thank you as a man, thank you so much for being open and vulnerable today to speak it. So welcome.
Absolutely.
To
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Suzie. Thank you so much for the honor and the privilege to be a part of Suzie Sayz. It's it's a real honor for me. And like you said, we've been on this incredible journey together. So a little bit about myself. Grew up in Pretoria, middle-class family. My father was an attorney at law, died very young when I was 13, and obviously that scarred me and created a negative belief system in myself regarding my life, and it also threw me into a 38-year depression, which I only broke out of in August last year. As Suzie well knows, she was part of that journey. But through my entire life, people would say to me, why are you always so depressed? Why are you always so angry? And I didn't see it. I couldn't see it. Couldn't see the wood through the trees. Anyway, through my life, had a lot of failures in my life, and it always went back at the point where I was about to succeed that the failure occurred. So it was almost like I was self-sabotaging. I didn't understand that pattern until one day I realized what it was. Just to quickly digress, when I was 13, my father went away on a hunting trip to the family farm, and I'd just got into the under 13A rugby team. I'd never played rugby in primary school, only in high school. And I was so excited to tell my dad. And the day that my dad was due to come back from his holiday, he passed away. And I was never able to tell him that I had achieved this huge success. So in my greatest sporting achievement, I have my greatest emotional failure. And that would set me up for the rest of my life until I broke through this depression. Every time I was about to achieve massive success, I would self-sabotage so I wouldn't have to go through that emotional experience. And I didn't understand that pattern until I broke out of the depression. And my journey, my actual personal self-development journey started when I was just after I got divorced. I got married a beautiful woman in 2006, and we had a boy about a year later. And then we got divorced a year later. And so I was married for 2 years, and in that divorce, I actually went and I took responsibility. I thought, what did I do wrong? Why did I create this? What am I? And that started my self-development journey, where I started looking, and I went and I studied everything. You name it, I studied it. I've spent hundreds of thousands of rands traveling around the world, attending courses, attending retreats, going on 10-day silent meditation retreats, doing everything. To come full circle to the point where in last year in August, I managed to break out of my massive depression. And along the journey, I was a juice coach for 3 years. I actually lost 35 kilograms in the period of 8 months.
What is a juice coach for those who don't know?
So that's a good question. A lot of people say you juice, and then they're referring to steroids. So that was always the first question. Because in South Africa, we call juicing people taking steroids. So
exactly.
That was actually it was a good conversation starter. I had a lot of laughs about that. So what a juice coach was.
So Ian's a juicer.
I'm a juicer, yeah. I'm an active juicer. My family's are juicers. I've got a 6-year-old boy and a 12-year-old boy, and they juice. We make juices for them every day. Anyway, so What actually
We're talking about fruit, right?
Yeah, we're talking about
And
fruit and veg.
vegetables.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about the spirit side of it. We don't put those toxins in our
No,
bodies.
no, no. That we can find our own steroids naturally for
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So what happened was in 2012, I had a quite a severe accident, a self-induced accident, alcohol related, and it got me stuck on a couch for 3 weeks where I couldn't walk. I had to keep my foot above my heart because of the damage that caused to my foot. And in that time, I was 45, and I realized that my dad had died at 45 because of his lifestyle. I mean, he basically drank and smoked himself and worked himself to death. And I always thought, why must I work hard? Why can't I just work smart? And while I was lying on that couch, I realized I don't want to do to my son what my father did to me. In other words, I want to be around when Sebastian grows up. And at that time, we only
It's
had
like
one
rinse,
boy.
repeat, isn't it? Same
Correct.
cycle.
I wanted to break that cycle. So I said, okay, that's it. And I went on this quest for 5 years, didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do drugs, didn't do anything. I cleaned myself up. And I lost so much weight. People started saying to me, how did you do this? So, and I did it through juicing. I went and studied juicing. Now, juicing essentially is taking raw fruit and vegetables and extracting the pulp, taking the non-soluble fiber out of the juice and then consuming just the soluble fiber. And that's essentially what I did. And I ended up turning it into a business. And I had quite a few hundred successful clients. And then Sasha moved down here with the two boys, and in July 2017. And at the time, I was going through quite a tough dark night of the soul. And I came down here for a holiday and I never left. So I've been here ever since August 2017. I've been here. And then I went back into the IT industry for a little bit and hated it, absolutely hated it. But I had a fantastic journey on that time because it led me down a path that I needed to experience to pull me back to where it's said that you'll never know what you want until you experience what you don't want. And that's
total
true.
contrast. Yeah,
the absolute contrast. We have to
100%.
experience.
It highlights, doesn't it? So you got to
Absolutely.
celebrate the negative because
I've got goose flesh now.
Exactly.
Just
It's like you got to get clapped. You got to get knocked over because then you learn how to get up. It's opposite of down is up.
Yeah, and I had a saying that I used to teach on my juice clients as well, is that it's in our darkest moments that we have our deepest insights. And you've got to hit rock bottom before you come out there. Otherwise, 100%. You just keep going down that hole. You just keep digging that hole
100%.
Until you hit the bottom. You won't turn around.
100%.
And yeah,
it's like a diver. Sorry, Em. It's like I suddenly had this vision of a diver off a diving board. They go right to the bottom of the pool and kick themselves up.
That's right. Yeah. So
for air.
Yeah, so I was in the IT industry. I hated it. It was a sales position, didn't like it. Realized that I'm not a salesperson, albeit we're all natural salespeople, but that wasn't what I chose. I didn't want to choose a profession. It
wasn't your passion.
It wasn't my passion. So I took some time off and spent 3 months on the beach, literally every day. I remember we spoke almost every day in that time. And I found my joy. I found my happiness. And then I went back into the IT industry for 6 months. And then in September last year, I was retrenched again. And
what number was that?
That was number 4.
Like,
and
that's not it's amazing.
I know it took me, sometimes, the universe has to slap me around a bit before I wake up. And
but it slaps everybody around until you wake up and how do I stop? How do I change this?
Yeah, and that was the wake-up call. And sorry, actually, the depression ended in 2018, not last year. It wasn't last year. It was 2018 that I broke through the depression. Because the company that I worked for that retrenched me, I was like Mr. Happy. I would walk in every day, happy Monday, happy Tuesday.
People.
I was I don't. Who knows why I was retrenched? I still haven't been told the reason.
It doesn't matter. You were meant to be there.
I was a happy guy, and it taught me a lot about
myself.
Yeah. So then that led me on to my next chapter, which was crypto trading, and I tried that for a while, and then I ended up where I am today. And I tell you what, it's been such an incredible journey because, like I said, when you only know what you want when you experience what you don't
100%.
want. And the more that we find our happy, the more we attract happy. And I see it all the time. When I know when somebody comes into my life now, and they are of a persuasion that is not something that I would consciously choose, then I know I'm off my disc. Then I know 100%. I've fallen off happy. And then I can go, okay, I'm disconnecting. I'm going to go and connect. And then those people go away. And then I connect and attract the people that I want in my life. as opposed to, you know, falling back
And
off the
what do
happiness.
they say? What do they say? You know, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. I know that's a little bit deeper, but they come
That's it,
into your space, and it's like when you, yeah, you feel, you know, you feel that you feel that funny feeling. Like, I mean, in normal talk, it's like, you know when something's off. When you connect with someone, you know when it's right, you know when it's wrong. You
Yeah.
know when they are coming to suck your energy, because they you know when they're adding value to it. And when you're so stable, not saying you don't get knocked off your happy disc, but when you're so stable, you just have to sit and look around and see your total environment and think,
Yeah.
this is here because of my state, because of who I am, because of the frequency, or because of what I'm putting out. So it's like stop, look, see. And Lothar in Germany, who's a big mentor of mine, and he always says, stop, look, see, stop, look, choose. He said, you've got to stop. You can look at the person coming in the door, no judgment.
Yeah.
No judgment. And then
Yeah.
see, how does it make me feel? And it's all about you.
Exactly.
It was about me. How does this make me feel? And if it's something good, then it's great. If it's something of dis-ease, you know, then why am I reacting to this? What is the lesson in it? Don't just shut it off anymore.
Yeah.
Hey? But it
Absolutely.
does. You get to choose who. Now you can be totally ruthless who you choose to speak to.
Absolutely.
Everything, because it affects you.
Well, it's all about our vibration. Everything in life is our vibration. Everything that happens to us is because of our vibration, not for any other reason other than that. And I mean, so I'm going to throw the cat among the pigeons here. And have you noticed how many beautiful days we're having lately?
I know, and there's hardly any wind, especially this side of town.
Do you know what wind represents? Wind represents turmoil and change. And when there's no wind, there's peace. And you know why we're experiencing so many good days now? It's because everybody is actually at peace. They've been confined to their homes. Yes, there is a little bit of frustration and some people experiencing cabin fever, but the general populace is at peace. They have time now to be and connect with who
they're
they
not
are.
fighting at work.
And
They're not
exactly,
fighting with the traffic. They're not.
Exactly. And I know it's a bit out there for people to believe that we can control the weather, but I mean,
it's the bigger frequency. No, we can.
No, but what I'm saying is that for some it's
you can change your own weather pattern,
so,
as well.
But I mean, look, I have not experienced this many beautiful days in Cape Town in the 3.5 years that I've been here, and it's
because you're in a windy patch that side of town. You're the front side of the mountain. I'm the back side of the mountain. That sounds terrible, but you know what I mean. It's so windy where I am, and we've noticed it's just been 3 months of the odd day here and there, and then it's when the wind is coming, it's like you can feel the change. You know, you can feel the fresh air coming in, blowing out, but still.
This period that we're going through has been, for me, the greatest life-changing experience for me personally, in so many areas, in my own personality, in my business, in how I relate to my family, my ex-wife. You know, for those that don't know, in September last year, my ex-wife and I decided to co-parent. So we took our rent. I was renting out here in Melkbos, in Melkbos proper. She was in the estate. We put our rents together, and we've got this beautiful home. I'm actually sitting overlooking the golf course now. And,
I know it,
you know, within 2 weeks of me committing financially to a year living with her and the boys, I got retrenched. And I mean, I've got through that all now, and we sorted through, and we were able to fix that all. But the point being is that that we now live together as a family, and our relationship has shifted because I've changed. So I've changed my vibration, and I've gone to the happy place. And because I'm happy, that vibration is protruding outwards. And so I'm only attracting happy environments. And so we live, I mean, you can imagine, we got divorced for a reason, and that was 12 years ago. And we now live together, and we're co-parenting, and we get on really well.
And you're probably good friends now, because
we're good mates. We're a lot better.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Barriers are down, and
absolutely.
you're raw, and you're being absolutely real with each other. There's you can't hide when you're in lockdown here.
No, you can't. No, well, that's
living with someone. You can't.
No, that's the beauty. That's why I say,
you can't hide. I mean, you know, Ian, even 3 months ago, I moved here to a cottage on a friend's property, and it's taken a good part of the 3 months for all of us. I mean, there are a whole lot of us here with 4 children and parents, their parents and me, of actually finding all our own frequencies amongst each other, because I'm like a whole new energy field on their property.
Yeah.
And you can't hide, hey? There's days when you feel crappy, and there's tears, and I've had lots of tears over the 3 months of processing and still releasing, and you've got these people that are friends of yours, but they don't really know that deep side of you until you let it go and you become vulnerable. And now we are all just like, where do I go? Like even like, where do I put a cup or a plate? It's that in the beginning. And now it's just, I think the key thing here, and also with you and Sasha, has been communication.
Yeah.
And this is how I feel. And the communication and the non-judging, like I don't judge you having a wobbly. I can't say, oh, you're being silly, pull yourself together and whatever. There's no judgment. It's okay, Ian, you're having a bad day, which the amount of time we've connected over the last couple of years, and we've both been, we just don't even phone each other. We just know to stay away. We know when we can, call in and say, help, I actually need an ear. And I know you'll only take my call when you're solid, rock solid, stable, and me too with you, because I'm then better value. But
absolutely,
the communication, like, you don't know the word. I think one of the biggest diseases in the world today that I've noticed is presumption.
Yeah.
I was the queen of presumption. You make up your own stories. He doesn't phone me, or she hasn't phoned me, or they're not returned, or they're not coming because, and I come up with some. But if I had to actually, and it's so funny living with people now, even that, like, in this environment, it's like, the insecurities of, oh, they want me in the conversation or what have you. And then you go into the house and like no one's even around. Like someone's actually doing their own thing in that corner. Someone's on a phone call down the path. They're not even having a life in there. And you're having this whole conversation in your head of a scenario, a presumption that something is going on. And so communication, actually having that voice to say, this is how I'm feeling, or what are you doing? Like find out who, what, when, and why. Like what is the situation, rather than presumption, because there's normally guaranteed it's a different story. Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
And so we have the self chatter in us of, and so now with you guys in the same home and things, like communication must be awesome now that you've known each other for how many years, and the power of communication of, this is how I feel, and then you're not judging me because I feel that way. Okay, let me hear you. Because the basic energy or the story is that I'm my own energy field, and you are your own energy field. And my job is to look after me. Your job is to look after you. And then together, you've got two solid individuals, you can co-create. And this is how I feel. I need to get back on my happy disc. And you add more happy to you, and your energy feels onto me, even if it's through a conversation, and lifts me up and back on my disc.
Yeah.
And you've got to stay. Oh, Lindy and I have this conversation. Stick to your own story. Stay in your own story.
I agree. But I think what's been very fundamental and important for us to get to this point has been me setting boundaries. I had to say, no, this is my time. I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing that. Or if we're going to do this, I've actually walked away from conversations where I could feel the negativity going. I'd actually leave, and I walk away from the conversation, because and then people say, but you're selfish. I said, yes, I am. I have every right to be selfish, because I am responsible for my own joy. And if I don't walk away from a situation that is causing me negative emotion, that's on me. So I have
someone else's story.
Somebody else who needs to
someone else's story, and
I'm
not engaging in that.
Exactly. And now that I've learned to do that, and I'm able to maintain and then not get sucked into that, it's also helped her not do that as well. And so
100%.
we've
So we
both been
all
kind of,
learn from each
we all
other.
learning, we all learn
And
from
it's
each
a,
other,
yeah,
and the boys are happy and
absolutely.
we happy, and
And you're
yeah,
communicating.
and
You're
we
actually
communicating and
speaking and
chatting,
saying,
and the boys,
listen,
yeah,
I'm not feeling, yeah, I mean, I'm not feeling great, or I need time out. I'm out of here. So I'll go for a walk, or, and I literally do go down. Luckily, we've got a Pick and Pay close to us. I can go for a walk. Uh, Otherwise, I'm time out, I'm in my space. And then it's the respecting of that and
that,
honoring those people's
that's it, yeah.
wishes.
And that's it,
Just
and
let me
that's the
have
thing,
time out, let me regroup, let me just put myself together so that when I'm back in the picture, I'm a better energy field and I add value. Nobody's like
absolutely, yeah,
iffing around me because yeah.
yeah,
So
spot
well
on,
done.
yeah,
You've done a phenomenal job. I mean, you and I have been on the Abraham Hicks journey together. For those who don't know, who are listening, Abraham Hicks, you can look on YouTube, but go look who is Abraham Hicks, first of all, what it is. But when I started learning about the frequencies and the energies and how powerful, the whole logic behind it, the simple logic behind it, nothing to take humans out of it, just the logic behind energy and the difference of the positive and the negative energies, the fear and the love base and all of that. And you and I mean, that was a massive classroom for me for a few years. If that was my turning point of understanding our emotions and
yeah,
how I think the beauty of it eventually, it's a journey, but how eventually when you pop out the other side and you realize, oh my word, I'm in control. I've got the steering wheel of emotions from the moment I wake up. And that was our 17 seconds.
exactly, yeah.
And
It's
that
funny you
17
say that,
seconds has been a big one for you and
yeah,
me. So
absolutely, yeah,
please share it with us, or share it with whoever's watching this, because that was the start. That was the start. That one action was the start of me facing forward on my new story, and leaving the past behind, and then dealing with the past. But it was easier because I was facing forward and I understood it on a frequency level.
absolutely, yeah. So I mean, as you said, everything's vibration, everything's energy, and we choose our own vibration, and because of what we attract, that vibration. So whatever we're vibrating at, we will attract those thoughts. We'll attract whatever we attract in our lives. So whether it be additional thoughts or thoughts that are carrying on, or thought forms that are carrying on in the ether, we'll attract that. And
Same frequency. Yep.
same frequency, because that's what you are likened to most, you will attract. So and that's what Abraham says. So 17 seconds, I love 17 seconds.
I know.
It's been a turning point of my life. And I actually, before I was introduced to Abraham, I knew about 17 seconds from my own practices. For me, when I started doing the juicing, I went on a massive educational course. I mean, I watched thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of YouTube videos on various different topics just to educate myself. When I realized I was in trouble and I needed help, I went and got the information myself, and I picked up on vibration and energies and stuff. And the way that Abraham puts it is so well, is that the 17 seconds, if you can hold a positive thought for 17 seconds, but not just a thought, a feeling. And how I relate this back and how I used to teach people is that go get a notebook out and write down a thought that makes you happy. So there is a thought, a happy thought in your life, whether it be, and I'll use a couple of examples. The one that really triggers it for me was, my son was about 4 years old, 5 years old. We were driving from my house to go and visit a friend, and he was sitting behind me in my car, and he for the first time, he reached out and he put his left hand on my right shoulder, and he opened the window. He put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "Dad, can I open the window?" And I unlocked the window and I let him. And he sat there with his left hand. And it's the first time he had ever engaged with me. And I tell you what, the tears just flooded. And I put my hand on him and we drove, because I had an automatic car. And we drove for about 7 or 8 minutes just like this, just with the tears flooding. I could feel the connection.
It made me goosebumps.
And holding on to that for 17 seconds leads to the next 17 and leads to the next 17. I mean, you can hold it for 68 seconds, so 4 by 17, you will then just attract this fantastic, massive day. of positive energy flowing, and it's energy
in that
upon energy.
moment.
You know,
In
you'll
that
drive,
moment,
you'll be driving down the road when we allow to drive, and all the robots will go green. All the traffic lights will turn green. People, you'll drive on the highway, and people will get out your way, and you go like,
I
wow,
know.
check at
You
this.
get the front row parking.
You're
I
driving
always
to a
get the
parking.
parking.
I always get the front row. I always get the first. When I
I
drive
always get
into
the
a parking
perfect
lot,
one.
I always get the one right where I want to park.
Exactly.
And that's all because of the 17 seconds. So what I used to teach people is write down 4 or 5 thoughts, and then hold that thought. And when you feel yourself slipping, pull back to that thought and hold that
But
thought.
as you said, it
17
has to have a
seconds.
feeling. It
It's got to be
has
a
to have a
feeling.
feeling.
There has to be
It's
an
not
emotion
just,
attached. Yes.
you know, a thought that you, oh yeah, when my son put his hand on my shoulder. It's like, what did it feel like in that moment?
Yeah.
And you actually make it a feeling harder, and you can feel your heart swell, you can feel everything. It has to become a physical experience of an emotion. Whereas I think so many people, I've found with personal development books, and I know you've also read tons and tons, is that I was so blocked off to the emotion. I couldn't feel the words. So they were not making sense to me. And all these books that were being shoved at me over the years, I was like, okay, I can understand the theory. To me, it was theory.
Yeah.
But I wasn't connecting with it on an emotional level and a physical level.
Yeah.
And only when I dug in, you know me, I've been searching, you know, when you're just searching. I was restless. I wasn't like you. I just wasn't getting grips onto life with anything. I was self-sabotaging, brink of success, and fall back. Brink of success, fall back in anything and everything to date. You know, in the old story, that was just a repeat pattern, which is what that fear was in me. And these books were not making any sense to me. And then suddenly when I got this gift of understanding, when suddenly the lights came on with the energies, with the Abrahams, and with where my path was leading over the last sort of 8-9 years, also in my divorce time, of really surrendering and committing to me growing. I just thought, I've got a window now and I'm going for it. But that connection of the books wasn't happening until I was presented with the simple fact of everything is energy. And when I started, and when I understood Abraham, and when other things, then the information came from all sorts. I mean, you know, I've spoken for hours on books, and then everything came alive. Every single thing came alive in my being, because it was a feeling. It had nothing to do with a word. It had to do with the feeling. Just when I used to books, years and years of books and books and books of just writing every morning, I'm happy and grateful for. I used to write down like 10 a day there was no emotion attached to it. It was like, oh, I have to write, I'm happy and grateful for my
like
pillow, happy and grateful for my blanket, happy and grateful for. And it was getting me nowhere, and I couldn't understand it, But when I then realized there's emotion to this gratitude. And so I stopped pressurizing myself for 10 things. All right, let me write down 3 things that I can honestly and truly spend a solid, how much time on it, rather than being rushed. And I'm happy. You know how happy and grateful I am for this cup of tea. I've been wanting a hot cup of tea all day. I woke up at 5:30 this morning to do, and my tea got very cold because it's pretty chilly in the mornings here. But when it was hot, and now this one's the second one, this moment, just to have that first sip and to like, wow, do you know, like really love this hot sip, which will bring more and more into my life.
Absolutely,
get into the feeling of tasting it, and that whole feeling. And then, you know what, it's like an on button. Everything starts coming in. But it's a feeling. So when you start living in, and you know it, you start living in feeling for the little stuff. I'm a glitter girl. I love the little stuff. The little stuff is, to me, that's the pixels of life. It's the bits that make a brick. I go for the bits. I went straight down for the bits to understand everything on an emotional frequency level, and from then you can build your everything up from that. So I know. I mean, you read.
I used to read a lot. I now Audible. I don't have time to read.
Audible.
So I
I
like to
love
Audible.
my
I can drive.
audibles.
I can do it when I'm driving. I can do it when I'm walking on
100%.
the beach. I can do it when I'm going for the walk. And recently, I've been too busy for Audible, and I've given myself a bit of time to focus on what I'm doing, because I've actually found a new kind of level of passion that has been missing for a long time. So and I'm absolutely loving what I'm doing. I'm really enjoying it. I'm spending a lot of time with new people every day, getting to
You're
know.
high on life at the
I'm
moment.
high, absolutely high. I mean, I posted on Facebook this morning, life is grand. You know, I'm absolutely adore this time of the, you know, and for some reasons, maybe not, but for most, long may it continue. You know, I know some people will disagree with me, but I'm really loving this. I've taken this opportunity.
But you know your space now.
I've taken, and it's been, and I think people that have taken the time to go inward will all agree with me. And those 100%. That haven't, those have thrown their brains at Netflix, and it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. But there's only a certain amount of time that you can do that. Correct. You know, it's just part of the story. Don't, you know, we had 2 years ago, had lockdown happened, you and I would have been straight in Netflix.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would have been binge watching and binge this, binge that. And,
in fact, I think last year I probably did binge lots, because I didn't just escape into it. It's almost like a reset. You
switch off. Yeah. Look, there's nothing wrong with binging. I know that often I will get, because.
But it's what you're binging on. But Ian, exactly. What are you binging on?
Yeah, exactly.
No, so this is what I want to. So, 100%. I love my series. I love everything. But what am I binging on? Am I looking for the negative stuff, or am I looking? I'm choosing, and like you, exactly. I know we choose now. The news story, the reset, the news story is all about. Nobody gets to tell me what I can eat, what I can consume through my ears, through my eyes, who I want to spend time with. I know I know what is healthier option. I get to choose, and most people don't choose because they don't actually really have that awareness. I mean, remember, we didn't have an awareness we could choose.
No, of course. I mean, I think something that's really struck me in my growth and my learning is that when we get to a certain vibrational level or the level of awareness, the choices that we make are best suited to who we are at the time. So we will,
in the moment.
In other words, we'll make choices that are beneficial to us. As opposed to, if you have a low vibration, you just make any choice because you want to just try and feel better. Which in a sense is okay, but it might not be the healthy option.
Or you being influenced by others around you.
Advertising, marketing, all the nonsense we see on TV, the bar ones and the fast food and all that crap. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, how many people are actually, waking up? And I say waking up, it's more, it's getting an awareness. It's just suddenly the on button of awareness switches on. You start becoming aware of things around you, and that you are the common denominator.
Absolutely. Everything comes from,
you're the beacon. You're the beacon. You're the beacon, and you're a magnet. That's right. And it's, you're putting this field out, but it's attracting whatever in. So it starts right from the in, and just like you said, you've got to hit rock bottom to come back up. So I imagine
something you mentioned earlier that I just wanted to help people with, and it's very, very important, especially if you're just new to this personal self-development or personal development, if you prefer those words, to understand that you're going to hear it in thousands and thousands of people are going to tell you, you've got to say affirmations, you've got to say affirmations, you've got to affirm the positive, you've got to affirm the positive. Well, affirming the positive is meaningless if there's no emotion attached to it, because it's all vibrational. When you can connect to that vibration, that's when you ask and it is given, is based on you connecting to a vibration. When you ask from that vibration of joy, happiness, you will receive that, right? So you said it earlier, is having affirmations are fantastic if you connect to the emotion when you're saying it. If you're feeling it, that's when you attract that emotion. And I know it's hard in the beginning. I was like, I was reading that stuff and I wasn't connecting to it because I didn't have the emotion. There was no feeling.
Exactly.
So intellectually, I got it. I got it intellectually, but I couldn't connect feeling-wise. And
Yeah, and I think, yeah.
my feeling came when, like you, I had that breakthrough with that big crack. It was in meditation. I was meditating one day and I heard an explosion in my brain, and immediately I could start feeling stuff. And I've actually
100%.
I've got goose flesh
100%.
now.
Mine
Just
was like a
talking
cog.
about
I
that.
could actually feel the cog in my brain. It went like it cracked,
Yeah.
and my whole frequency chook. And I remember it clearly. I remember it clearly.
I was meditating on the beach. Well, I used to live next to the beach, and I was meditating, and I heard this explosion in my brain, and it sounded like an explosion like next door. And obviously, I knew that it wasn't a physical explosion because I was still sitting there. But yeah, and that was my experience. And immediately, I started feeling the whole world appeared different. And since then, and you talk about awareness, and when awareness comes from insight, the more insight we have, the more awareness we have around us. And I see things now all the time, and I just smile. I just look at it and I just smile. I go, oh wow. And then I carry on, and just it's beautiful to watch, and to watch how everything shifts, and how beautifully on time everything is, and how everything is so beautifully connected. It's just like, oh wow, look at that. And I just smile.
So you know that whole feeling thing that we're talking about, and this whole experience of lockdown it's found me spending a lot more time sitting in a chair outside with no outside influence, so no phone,
Wonderful.
no book, no anything, and learning the art of being. I mean, I'm actually even painting a bee on the wall. We're painting the wall.
That's right. You showed me that.
So and it took me the first 2 months of lockdown to think, what am I going to put on there? And like the families put all their pictures on, and I really have learned and started learning, let's say applying to my life and really getting damn good at it. I had to go learn how to be. I did not know my own address, my own frequency address at its core. Yeah. Because we have so much outside stimulus in our normal working environment. If this shutdown didn't happen, life would have still continued. We've still been panicking of this and that, or whatever, however it would have unfolded. But this has forced us to stop. And so I took advantage of it. First couple of months were everyone was, people were trying to do and get online, and so when I realized this is all the wrong way around, we are not doings.
We're beings, yeah.
We are beings. And what it meant to me was I had to go back inside and find, well, who is Suzie?
Well, the doing comes from the being.
Yeah, exactly. It's the other way around.
It's the other way around. We've got it all arse about face. Excuse the language.
Exactly. So I literally stopped. I stopped and I sat in a chair in the days that, when my body actually just wanted to sit and stare and just be. And yes, I'm in a busy household where there's 4 little girls running around and there's activity, but I was being in that, just being, hanging up washing, painting my wall, being. And from that, you create what I learned and what I started understanding. You create a base. You're just being. Okay. And from that being, suddenly it becomes a frequency right on the inside where you can actually, I can feel my heart smiling in.
Wonderful. Beautiful.
When you just take a breath and you're just like, there's no pressure. Like there's no pressure. I'm this frequency of just being and love and gratitude. So it's taken a while to steady that ship, eh? And yes, it has its up days, down days, and it has those days of tears and ranting. I mean, I lost it this week, so it's still human. It's like, but I'm not attached to. I know it's dust. I'm letting it go. But back to I've got my core being. I know where like you remember this feeling.
Yeah.
I can go straight back into my core being because I know what it's like when I was just sitting there and I bottled it. I was like, I'm in my bliss here. I've got the sun on me. I've got your children laughing around. There's dogs. There's just life. I'm in this bubble of, and I'm so grateful. And I bottled that. I was not even bottled. I locked into that, and it's my reference point. And from that being, doing it more and more and more, is coming the inspiration. When I haven't painted since I was at school, and now the bees come alive.
Yeah.
I'm you know, the writing is coming out. It unlocks your treasure chest of your being.
Absolutely.
And you create this frequency now where suddenly the phone starts ringing and people are in, and you get inspired action to go do stuff.
Well,
and it gets done so quickly. Like the family get home, yeah, and they go, or not get home, but around like, who's cleaned the kitchen? Like, where did you come from? Like, everyone's been around and like suddenly it's all clean. Because I've just got in a zone and the kitchen's clean. Or I've done this, whatever, or we all, and it's
yeah, I want to jump in.
So you get so much more done.
And not only do you get much more done, but the art of being is actually the being in the doing. So when you're doing, be. And when you are being and you're doing because you're being,
it's inspired being.
Then you never get tired. I mean,
you don't. Because you're being and you're doing what you want to be doing.
I was on a Zoom call last night at from 11 till about 1:15 this morning, and I went to sleep, and then I was up at 5, and I woke up and I went, I'm not tired. I've only had 3.5 hours sleep, but I'm not tired. Why? Because my vibration is so high. I don't
100%.
There's no resistance. Because there's no resistance, my energy is 100%. High.
My average is between 4 to 6 hours a night. I'm normally up anything from 4 on as well. Then going to sleep, it's my quiet time until I have to stick my head out the door. And we've got a little meditation spot I've created at the front door and the front veranda, watches the sunrise there. So I go and sit around there and take a cushion and a blanket, or I've got my little spot here. But I've made this lockdown time, consciously made it my base brick, my base launch off pad. So what do I want in my day? I want mind, body, and soul. I want a healthy body, I want a healthy mind, and I want my soul full, like completely. So I'm creating and modeling this vacuum time. My whole sleep patterns have changed. My energy levels are completely different. So when I wake up now, I don't toss and turn. I get up. I put a meditation, or I put a plug in. There's so many meditations, and of my people that I follow, I put a meditation. I sit up. I got my little cushion. I sit up, and I spend my time doing it. If it wasn't that, I go sit and watch the sun as it's coming up. But I have created a routine now. 9 o'clock is gym time in our house. On a Saturday morning, we do yoga. And from 9 to 10 is exercise. From 8 to 9 before that, I walk around. Now we can get out. I do around the hood and up the mountain. I do walking. So I walk for an hour. I gym for an hour. Then it's breakfast. But I have my routine now of for me. Nobody else. It's and then I'm ready to get on with my day. And then I'm ready to give my energy to looking, being around for my family at this moment and being around. But I'm in a being state of Susie's bliss. And it's getting bigger and bigger. But the being, as you say, the doing is in the being. Now it's not. Now you look at things differently. You act on things differently. It's not a schlep.
The reason why you're also efficient at cleaning the dishes as well is because I love cleaning the kitchen, because I know that I'm being when I'm cleaning the kitchen, because I don't allow my mind to wander on it. I am the dish. I am cleaning the dish. So I'm cleaning the dish. My mind's not thinking
present.
It's there.
You're in the dish.
So I'll walk
practice, isn't it?
Exactly. Do the dishes in a few minutes, and it's done, and I'm in a good mood, and people go, well, why do you like doing the dishes? Why? Because it's a meditation for me.
Well, what it is, it's
and that's why I'm saying in the doing, you're being.
And in being, you're present.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you can learn to do that in your life, then nothing will be a chore. I mean,
you can learn to be that. It's not even it's be.
To be. I've got my little guy Uli. He's now 6.5, and I know this is a horrible subject, but he loves to pick up dog poo.
Great.
It's his thing. He goes and he does it, and we've got a great day. It's a horse. So you can imagine this little guy, and he could choose. He can either do it or feed the dogs. He chooses to pick up dog poo. So and you watch him, and I go like, wow, look at this! Like he's just being. He's such a happy
Oh
kid, and he walks around and he
man, he
sings
is.
and he
He's
picks
very
up and he
special.
does his things
So
and
his
he goes
attitude
and
and
he's
how he's
being.
being. It's not even
And so the
attitude.
doing's not an
It's
issue because he's
being.
being.
No.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
attitude is such a stigma. It's such a horrible word. It's how's your being, not your
Exactly.
attitude. What's
Yeah.
your being doing? And this whole
Exactly.
lockdown has made me realize, or not. I've had such a valuable lesson of presence. Hey, Ian.
It
Of
is. It's
actually
exactly that.
just
It's about presence.
really sitting when you're with someone, whether you're sitting with the dish, whether you're hanging the laundry, whether you're you're sitting having a conversation. I've got little girls from the ages of 6 all the way to 13, and it's different conversations of just being present. Put that phone down. You don't
Exactly.
need, it's
Exactly.
I'm not even going to comment. So being present now with someone, like having this conversation with you, and being in it, you are a collective now of something that it was like I remember when my son Dean was little. When he was little, he loved just mum, come and make a puzzle with me. Even if it was the 4 little pieces, like he was like a couple of years old or whatever it is, the 4 little pieces. Just that fix of presence for a few
Presence.
minutes.
That's it. My eldest is like
It's all
that. He
people
just wants
want. They
presence.
want
Yeah.
presence.
He wants.
People deserve, and so become the person, or be the present person.
Yeah, and you'll
And
see how
people
your life will
now
change.
so now people who talk to me and they're occupied and they're on a phone call or whatever, I stop.
I
I
just
stop
keep
talking
quiet. Yeah, I do. I do the same. Yeah, I do the
because
same.
they're not present, and I'm giving my energy to be present, and so therefore I am
Boundaries.
deserving of presence back, and you're dishonoring that, so therefore this is not the right time for the conversation.
Yeah, spot on.
But I don't judge you. I just
Exactly.
know that we move on from
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Yeah.
So
Awesome.
you, I mean, um, looking at the time here, now
With
we'll round off. But I
seven,
mean,
7 minutes.
you
Yeah.
really have taken this journey of going inward, like me. We didn't have a choice, did we? It kind of just got dumped on.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, well, I mean, if
Well,
you
you do
look
have a
back,
choice. You can
you
fight it and be
do
miserable and stick
exactly,
to the old story, or you can
exactly. You let
stop
it go.
and you can say, okay, what is actually happening with me? What is this?
Well, when people ask me today, how are you doing? My first thing is living the dream. Not what happened last year or the year before, 20 or 40 or 50 years ago. I'm living the
Over.
dream because that's what I'm doing. This is my story. I'm living the dream. I mean, look at my life now. I'm living the dream, literally living the dream. And that's all I tell people. And
Yeah. And are you creating this frequency in the now, in this present moment,
which attracts
which
more.
takes it into the next,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's
I
like
would,
seconds into minutes, and minutes into hours, hours into days, days into weeks. And so your life,
it's
when
that
they say
simple.
create your it is when they say
Yeah.
create your reality. I am as happy as sitting in a little cottage under a mountain with friends as I am as happy sitting on my beach in Bali,
Absolutely.
because
I mean,
it's me. It's got
I
not.
exactly.
It's
And you
me.
know,
I'm happy.
I'm so glad you mentioned this because I've often used this analogy to explain it to people because a lot of people don't understand so now I use this analogy. Now, everybody that goes on a holiday destination, we work for 48 weeks of the year in a traditional job environment. We take 4 weeks off. And generally, we spend 3 weeks in December. So we go to a lovely destination. We have a great holiday. And we actually enjoy the holiday. And then we come back. Now, if it was the holiday that made you feel good, then everybody would go to that destination. But it's not. It's who you are while you're on holiday that makes you feel good because you're allowing yourself to feel good, so you feel good. And then you
Exactly.
enjoy the holiday.
Yes.
And that's it. And if you can do it on holiday, you could do it anywhere. It doesn't matter what your job is.
100%.
You could feel
100%.
good all the time. You just have to
It's a
choose to want that.
choice. And
Absolutely.
so if you're in a
Absolutely.
job, like if you're in a job or anything that you're doing that is not making you feel good, Okay. The common denominator there is you. And
Exactly,
when
yeah.
you do become, when you start becoming happy on the inside, and the happy on the inside starts coming out, if that job is wrong for you, it will go.
That
And
will
there
disappear.
will be,
And
without a doubt, something else that comes in.
that's look what happened to me. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm just evidence and proof that is exact. And I tell
Same
you
thing
what,
with me and homes
if,
at the moment.
if that didn't happen last year, September, I would not be this happy today.
100%.
I have found what I want to do. I am loving my life right now. I'm having a joy. I'm enjoying it. I'm helping people.
You're
I'm making a
healthy.
difference. I'm healthy. I'm happy. My body started healing. I mean, I showed Sasha last night. I had a growth on my leg, which has now started healing itself. The growth, the cells have started small, because I know that I'm in control of my well-being.
100%.
I control my well-being through my belief and my vibration.
100%.
And that which you believe will manifest. So I believe
100%.
I'm healthy. I believe in my own well-being, and therefore my body's healing itself.
And that's health, wealth, and happiness. So,
Health, wealth,
you've
happiness,
molded,
exactly.
you've molded your
Absolutely.
day, or you've designed your day. Like I've designed my day to make sure that I've got exercise in it now, and that I'm back into my exercise, which I haven't done for like about a year or so when I stopped gym. So getting back into that, lost weight, eating properly,
Yep.
Got oxygen in. I'm learning to do breathing. I'm having such fun looking for breathing exercise. I'm having this whole new experience with breathing, which we don't even know how to do, which gets oxygen into my head, which flipping wakes me up, because it all just kind of stops here. So I've designed my day from the exercise to the meals to in fact, I've designed just to be happy in my day, knowing the only thing that I know is I have to wake up and I have to go to gym and my walking. And then I surrender. And the rest of the day is totally energetically inspired from what I'm putting out. So whether it lands up I'm painting, or whether it lands up I'm doing a whole lot of coaching, or whether it lands up I stay away from people if I'm not in a good space, or yes, I'm heading out to my family and things. It's my day. I have it, and then I surrender, and it just and it all comes back together, consolidated in the evening, and I sleep well.
Wonderful. That's
and
awesome.
live in gratitude, like like
That's
you.
it. Yeah, wake up every morning. Something that I can remember many years ago, not understanding why every morning I woke up in a bad mood. I'd wake up and the first thought I'd have is negative. And about a week ago, I was lying here and I woke up, randomly woke up in the morning, and it was, wow, I'm at peace. Wow, feel that natural joy. I'm waking up, and I said all those years ago that, and this is one of the reasons why I stopped drinking alcohol. I said, I cannot believe that I need to ingest a substance to feel good about myself. I'm going to stop drinking until I'm able to feel good about myself naturally for myself, and I've achieved it. And it was, I wake up every morning now. Oh wow, feel how good that is. Wow.
Isn't it amazing?
And I get to choose. And if I choose to go down a negative path, that's a choice. But I wake up with the choice.
It's a happy hangover now.
Yes, exactly. It's a happy hangover. Yeah, that's it. So
I'm in for happy hangovers. So Ian, on a parting note, because and we'll definitely come back to revisit more conversations, because you and us can speak for hours.
We can. Yeah.
There's lots that we still have to bring online here of our journeys together, what we've done.
Yes, yeah.
Definitely
we'll go there one day. Yes.
We'll go there. And so in the meantime, in this moment, a message from Ian to whoever's watching this, because they're here for a reason on this particular session with you, and they're resonating with what we're speaking about. I trust, if they're still listening. Parting note, words of wisdom for this moment from you.
Keep going, don't stop, it's coming. Everything's on path, on cue, as it is.
On time.
On time.
And it's on time.
I'm getting all emotional, and I've got gooseflesh now, just that comes straight through me. So just keep going, don't stop. Just keep going. You don't know how close you are to that breakthrough. You are so close to that little breakthrough, that little bit of release that you need to go to the.
It's just a shift in frequency. It's from one pixel to another to another. It's a little bit at a time. And something that a practical, something that that has worked for you really that that they can grasp onto to continue that journey
yeah.
of hope and faith?
So go take a notebook and go sit down and spend an hour and write down in a book, like a notebook. You can grab a little notebook like this, and you can write down like this.
This is my one.
Just an example. I'm just using this as an example. A happiness
sure.
diary. Love that. Yeah. Write down 15 to 30 occasions in your life where you felt happy. So, I mean, I've got many. I can remember myself as a little boy, 8, 9-year-old, having the freedom to go walk around Umhlanga Rocks with money in my pocket, go buy myself an ice cream on my own. I was 8 years old. I could walk down the beach,
big adventure,
and walk it down, and I can remember the excitement of going and buying myself a little small ice cream with a soft serve and standing on the beach. So write these moments down.
So 15 to 30 things of those emotional things, not just
emotions. Yes, and then
if you can't do that many, just write something down. The juices will go. Think of one and another.
Take some time. It will take a while to get it right. I know 100%. When I first started, I couldn't think of any. And then when I found one, it's not a competition.
Exactly.
Take your time. As I said, everything's on time and it will happen when it needs to. But write them down, physically write them down on a piece of paper and keep that paper handy somewhere. So that if you're having a bad moment, that you can take that paper out and sit and go take that first thought and just close your eyes and connect with that thought. And then go to the next one and go to the next one and go to the next one. 17 seconds, 17 seconds, 17 seconds, 17 seconds, 68 seconds. And then you'll go and you'll create that momentum and then you can go about your day again. Yeah, that's it. That deep breath. The Hawaiians call us in the West the non-breathers because we breathe from here.
We only breathe into our lungs. We don't out at our whole.
We don't use our diaphragm. So
I mean, just before lockdown, I went to Knysna and my friend Tanth showed me. She put her hand on my stomach. She said, "Take a deep breath," and I did, and my stomach didn't move. Exactly. You got to like fill your lungs and your stomach. It's like the whole cavity.
Here's a quick trick: take your right hand, put it on your tummy, your left hand on your chest, and then take a breath. And then if your right hand on your tummy moves, your right hand has to move more than your left hand. If only your left hand, which is on your heart, moves, then you're breathing incorrectly. So then
you have to take it right.
Or do yoga and Pilates, you'll learn how to breathe properly.
I know, and that's
and then connect to who you are. So there you go. That's it. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, it has been.
And be kind to yourself. Just be kind to yourself.
I know. It's the whole being thing. Hey,
go stand in the mirror and say, "I love you." When was the last time you stood in the mirror, looked at yourself and said, "I love you"?
Exactly.
I think many people have found that very awkward. I know when I first did that.
Oh my God, I was me in the mirror. Don't even go there.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Now is a different story.
Oh, absolutely.
I actually have had my mirror, funny enough, covered with like a sarong thing.
Oh wow.
And yeah. So that's exactly.
Yeah.
Then it's like look behind the curtain to check what I look like. Now it's sorry, baby, this is me. Like,
this is me.
This is me. I'm vibrating into this whole new body as well. But this is me, and I love me. And whoever I attract into my space, it's my story, their story. It's not. I'm not being for someone else. No, it's like
I'm my own being. Yeah.
Oh, you're such a star,
lovely.
And I
Thanks.
really
beautiful. Love it.
I'm gonna stop. I'll stop recording now. But before that, I'm so appreciative of our friendship and our connection because you and I were very vital in each other's journeys in the last couple of years.
Yep.
Very vital.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful.
We'll chat about that in a future episode. Yeah.
We will. All right. But I'm gonna stop now. But thank you so much for your time.
It's a huge pleasure, Suzie, and thank you. An honor for me to be and share this opportunity with Suzie Sayz. Thank you so much.
Oh, yay! To the next time. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thanks, Ian.
Thanks, Suzie.